So, Shady, you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Will Aaron Rodgers Jets be more like Brady's Bucs or Wilson's Broncos?
I'm gonna say Brady, more like Brady. I can't even imagine seeing Aaron Rodgers playing as bad as Russell did last year. So I gotta go with more of Brady. I just think that when you talk about a player of that magnitude, of that greatness, coming to an organization where they do have talent, right? The looking at from the Bucs having that defense, having the Jets having that defense, all the skill players that the Bucs had. Look at the Jets; they have that. So I gotta see more of the Bucs compared to seeing more of Denver.
I want to say that it's Brady's Bucs, but Brady's Bucs, Matthew Stafford's Rams, Russell Wilson's Broncos, they're all really different situations to me. They're not the same. It's not copy and paste. Even the two teams that had instant success with Brady's Bucs and Stafford's Rams weren't even similar situations to me. Brady is the greatest player of all time, so I put him in a completely outlier situation. Are Rodgers and him similar in that they're both all-time greats? Sure, but Brady's different. He's different as a leadership style. He's different as a preparation style. He's taking care of his body differently. None of this is shaded Aaron Rodgers. They're just different players, and we know that. And they've had more success in the postseason. So I think that is different. I also think that the Bucs had a lot of really high-level veteran talent and brought in some other veteran talent, like a Shady McCoy, like an Antonio Brown, like a Rob Gronkowski. All of those elements really helped them win that Super Bowl. When you look at Matthew Stafford's Rams, they went to a Super Bowl with Sean McVay with Jared Goff. They also had a lot of really high-level veteran talent that they brought in and already had in the building. Now you go to the Broncos, that was a disaster, top to bottom. It wasn't as talented as we thought they were. Russell Wilson didn't play well. They had a first-time head coach. Everything was bad. When you look at the Jets situation, I have a lot of questions on paper that I have to see how they play out during this season. Now, I'm with Shady. I can't see anything being as bad as it was in Denver. I mean, that was bad. But I don't know if I can jump to they're going to win a Super Bowl in year one, which is what Brady did with the Bucs. But James, what do you think? Is it closer to Brady and the Bucs or Russell Wilson and the Broncos?
It's definitely closer to Brady and the Bucs strictly because of the quarterback play. We will never, and I'm going to say it again, we will never see Aaron Rodgers play as bad as Russell Wilson did this year, right? And like Shady said, the defense is there. It is built. This is a top 5 defense. They even got better on the defensive side of the ball. So it's not like Aaron Rodgers has to go out there and win the Super Bowl strictly on his right arm. He has help. He has a really good defense. Then when you come to the offensive side of the ball, with the weapons he has on the offensive side of the ball, getting Breece Hall back, obviously the young phenom in Wilson, but he has the playmakers to get the job done. And you're with Hackett. You're with your offensive coordinator that you won an MVP with in Green Bay. So it's just a lot of stuff that, even on paper, like you're saying, Joy, it's going in the right direction for the Jets. And if they can stay healthy, especially at the quarterback spot, if AR8 can stay healthy, I mean, they can be one of those teams, if they punch their ticket to the playoffs, to host up that Lombardi trophy. They are built that way. Russell Wilson, just like you are saying, Tom Brady is the greatest to ever do it. Russell Wilson cannot even be in the same conversation as AR8 when we talk about quarterback play. So the quarterback play will be much better. If the quarterback play was this much better in Denver, they would have won 4 more games. So I think the Jets is going in the right direction.
Yeah, I hear you, James. Shady, you were there. So I think we all agree the quarterback is the position that we think puts the Jets into that conversation, because certainly they didn't have a quarterback last year and they weren't in that conversation. But outside of Aaron Rodgers, do you see a lot of similarities to what the Bucs had and what the Jets have? Because I don't necessarily see that. I see the Jets as a very differently constructed team. Bruce Arians had a lot more head coaching experience and head coaching success than Saleh did. The veteran pieces at the skill positions are different than what the Jets have. But you were there, so are there similarities to this Bucs roster and setup, to this Jets roster and setup, to what you guys have with the Bucs?
Oh, it's a lot of similarities. I mean, and you just said without Aaron Rodgers or naming Tom Brady, but it's hard to compare him without those quarterbacks. And, for example, when Tom Brady decided to come to Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's like he changed the whole team, the attitude. Like, everybody's excited to play football again. You know, like Tampa, they had success in their franchise, right? But they had some bad times. And when you bring a guy like Tom Brady, everybody's motivated, from the coaches to the GM to, to all the players. And the same thing with the Jets. When we heard about, okay, Aaron Rodgers potentially might go to the Jets, it's like, really, Kenny? All the hype, all the players tweeting about it, talking about it. And then when it was confirmed that he was coming there, everybody is excited to play football again. And when that starts, right, you motivating people that you don't even know about. So now a player last year that didn't play that well, you might get the best out of them this year. Same thing with the Bucs. There were some players that didn't really play great before, they didn't really talk about, and then next thing you know, Brady comes there and everybody's more motivated. They want to win, they want to play, and they play better. So I think it's a lot of similarities. Even the defense. As much as a quarterback is with the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers, you need those quarterbacks. But on the defensive side, like get us the ball back, get some stops. We score, you stop them. We score, you stop them. And when you can create that, that's when you start that confidence, them big leads, them comfortable leads, dominating. And I think that also when you talk about the divisions, like, okay, now we can compete. We got everything we need but that quarterback. Same thing with the Bucs. We had everything they needed but that quarterback. So when you ask about the similarities, there's so many similarities.
And James, obviously Aaron Rodgers has had some questions about his leadership style, and if he is, he certainly wasn't bought in last year. I think we can all admit to that. But everything that you're seeing with Aaron Rodgers, we've talked a lot about this on the show over the past couple of weeks. He gave back $35 million of guaranteed money, which is insane. And he really seems bought into, is not?
That's bought in, a lot of money.
To give up $35 million, I don't care who you are. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. In this economy, it's a lot of money. So, are you seeing a new Aaron Rodgers, or is this the Aaron Rodgers that was always there? He's just reinvigorated.
You know what? I was one of those ones that was like, I was talking to Aaron during the offseason, like, dude, you a Packer. Hey, you did 20 there. What you even thinking about going somewhere else, man? Finish it out there. Try to win one more. The team got some good players over there in Green Bay, too. Finish it out. But what I'm seeing right now from AR8 and how happy he is and how just a breath of fresh air, out there in New York, to see him with the young guys, to see him out there with OTAs, like Shady said earlier, right? When you get a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, he's going to make everybody around him better. He's going to make the coaches better, the players better, everybody around him better, right? Right when he steps in the building, even from the confidence standpoint of it, right? But from what I'm seeing, Aaron Rodgers, from what I'm seeing from him, how he's walking around, how he has a smile on his face, how he got handshakes with all these young dudes, just how he's loving playing football again and how he really needed out of Green Bay for that breath of fresh air, I think you are going to see a totally different Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback spot. And then, like you said, Joy, to go in there and say, hey, man, take $35 million of my money and just give me the 75. That's saying a lot. That's saying that, hey, I'm here. I got 2 years here. I am trying to go win a Super Bowl, and that's the mindset of everybody around there in that building, man. I think this is going to be really good for the Jets.
I see you got Super Bowl mindset today. We see the trophy behind you.
We see you stunting.
Yeah, you see, I can't lean. I don't even know which way to lean.
You see you stunting.
Yeah,
we see it.
It's mirrored.
You flexing on a low key. I see you flexing.
Let's move on to the other team playing tonight. Deshaun Watson won't be playing against the Jets tonight, but he'll be starting the regular season after finishing a disappointing 3-3 last year as the Browns starter. So, James, what are your expectations for Deshaun Watson this season?
My expectations are high for Deshaun Watson. You're talking about a guy when he was in Houston, when he was healthy, when he was playing at a high level. You're talking about a guy that was in the MVP conversation. You're coming over here with Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, and you have a training camp under your belt, right? Last year when he came in, the expectations wasn't that high. Coming off a suspension, right? You ain't even got camp legs yet. You learning a new offense, ain't been in the building a lot. Well, all that changed right? He's been here. He's had a full offseason under his belt. We know Deshaun Watson, when he is on the football field, is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, and you cannot argue that. Dual threat, can do it any way he wants to do it. You have Amari Cooper, you have Elijah Moore, you have Njoku, you have Nick Chubb in the backfield, right? You have a really good defense. The sky is the limit for this team, and if Deshaun Watson could get back to being the Deshaun Watson that he was in Houston, the Cleveland Browns are going to be a tough outing. The division is going to be tough. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, whoever else is in that division, they are in trouble messing around with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is that type quarterback.
I mean, James, I agree with everything you said. I mean, like, the reason why we talk about the guarantee for the quarterback, $230 million, so much money, the reason why the Browns did that is because they feel like, hey, we have everything we need in the building but that one player, that special player, and that's Deshaun Watson. And he's always been special. I don't take last year as a real sample size of who he is. We know what he could do when he's at his best. Now that he's back, getting his legs, some work with his legs, work with his arm, out there on the field with his teammates, with his players, coaches, back to playing football. I think we should see the old Deshaun Watson. And I think, for me, the expectation has to be easily 4,000-plus yards. Got to get to the playoffs. They have everything they need but the quarterback. I mean, we've seen this team each year. We talk about the Browns. This might be their year. They might break through. Well, we can honestly say this year and going forward, they actually have the quarterback to go out there and get to the playoffs and do some damage in the playoffs with a good defense like they have. So just waiting to see what happens.
It's a really tough division, but when you give someone $230 million guaranteed,
yes, that's a lot.
There's no more excuses. I think we all collectively applied reason to what the situation was last year. No matter how good you are, you have that much time away from football and come in halfway through a season. The expectations couldn't have been that high, and it looked bad. I mean, he didn't look great, but we can't use that as a full sample size of what he's going to be in Cleveland. Now you have an entire offseason, a quiet offseason. You have an entire offseason in the system, playing with being around your teammates. All those excuses and all the chaos, that's off the table now. Now you have to go out and perform. And for all this talk about pressure, we're going to talk about Lamar this year. We're going to talk about pressure on Justin Herbert this year. We're going to talk about pressure on Dak Prescott this year. When Joe Burrow gets paid, we're going to talk about the pressure that's on him. All these guys who have been paid, that the pressure is going to come with that. Well, Deshaun Watson still has the most guaranteed money, which is what holds up any contract. Guaranteed money. He has $230 million of guaranteed money at one position, the quarterback position that we already put all the pressure on. We know that this team is talented enough. Baker Mayfield took them to the postseason and won a playoff game. So if Baker could do that, and that's the expectations for Baker Mayfield, the expectations for Deshaun Watson should be much, much higher than they were for Baker Mayfield, because Deshaun Watson, we have seen be a top 5 quarterback in the league. We've never seen that from Baker Mayfield. So when you're talking about the talent that's on this team and what the expectations should be, you've got a coach of the year, you've got skill positions, you've got defense, you've got line, you've got running back. There's no reason why we shouldn't be talking about them as one of the teams that will be competing to win that division, as hard as that division is. And if they don't make it to the playoffs, that's a massive failure to me.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Because when you talk Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield, you can't even put them in the same conversation, right? And Baker Mayfield got you a playoff game. I don't care if it's Joe Burrow in the division. I don't care if it's Lamar Jackson in the division. You have $230 million, right? You should be able to get your team to the playoffs and win playoff games, right? I don't care what anybody's saying. The Cleveland Browns is one of those teams that is in training camp right now that has the opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. They are built that way, right? You have your quarterback coming off of his suspension who's been here the whole offseason now. It is time to go for the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns fans should be excited. Everybody in Cleveland should be excited about Deshaun Watson and his team, because just because those quarterbacks, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, is in that division, you have a really good one as well in Deshaun Watson, and he should be able to win you a lot of football games. And when you get in the playoffs, that's when those quarterbacks got to show up.
You're right, because I feel like the Browns, they're like under the radar. We talk about like, okay, they have Lamar Jackson with the Ravens, and they did all them new additions they got for that team to make them better. But then you also got the big dog in the division, who is the Bengals, right? And Joe Burrow and his whole wide receiver cast and the offense and the defense, and they have that team. So they're flying under the radar. But I think in the division, they're nervous that if Deshaun Watson gets back to the way he plays, I don't know. I mean, let's think about this for a second. If the Browns are in the playoffs, could you see that or couldn't you see that? Because if they get in there, they could do some damage. They got all the talent. If you look at all like the rosters and you compare them, they easily got a top 5 roster, easy. Now you get to bring in a quarterback like Deshaun Watson playing how I used to play. They could be dangerous.
They could be.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.